looking to capitalize on the show's biggest audience in 5 months. SmackDown, following up the unusual media hype that led to the viewership spike, was set up to build or at least maintain a significant percentage of the casual viewers tuning in last Thursday, opening the first quarter with Rey Mysterio and Tori vs Noble and Nidia in a tag match going 4 minutes, with Rey and Tori reuniting part of the Filthy Animals group after over 2 years, with Rey after impressing in the ring since before even making his official TV debut, with strong performances across the board along with clear marketing potential to be a major player, indirectly getting more good news on Thursday in a TV viewership breakdown by household demographics across the country, revealing SmackDown as the most watched show on network television among Hispanic households, and another strong sign to encourage the pushes of Eddie and Rey near the top of the brand, with SmackDown after the opening tag match setting up the final angle to the Taker vs Lesnar title match on Sunday, with Heyman surrounding Lesnar with security for the rest of the night, with Taker on the way to the building to build to the final confrontation, followed by Stephanie opening the second quarter building up to the Interpromotional tag match against Eric Bischoff's Raw, with the two headliners of last Thursday in Gunn and Palumbo continuing to get prominent roles to potentially ride the wave of interest from last week going forward, with initial indications on the show maintaining the strong increase from last Thursday, showing positive signs, with SmackDown's first 30 minutes for the opening tag match and Angle Gunn Palumbo and Stephanie promo segment averaging over 5.2 million viewers, the most watched opening half hour of SmackDown in 4 months, on par with last week's hyped season premiere, setting up Angle and Benoit teaming up against Billy and Chuck in the top match of the night. SmackDown jumped over 600,000 viewers in the next half hour, with Lesnar again working early, with Taker yet to arrive to the building, seeing two members of OVW's talked about class of the past 2 years, with Lesnar vs Cena in their first match on the main WWE television going 6 minutes, with Brock dominating throughout before going over, and with the Raw brand taking a major hit in the past 2 weeks on cable against heavier sports competition. SmackDown, while having a wider reach and not facing as much disadvantages as Raw, with less crossover from the wrestling audience to reality and drama series compared to Monday Night Football, is also set to face increased competition starting on the night, with the first hour from 8 to 9 p.m. going head-to-head against the season premiere of Survivor, drawing 23 million viewers, seeing SmackDown still holding up strong against it, with nearly 5.5 million viewers at around the same range of the previous week, featuring a Taker Desire video package to Adrenaline as the Unforgiven theme song, followed by the entrances and start of the Edge and Rikishi vs the Guerreros tag match set for the top of the hour. Eddie and Chavo vs Rikishi and Edge went 6 minutes over the top of the hour quarter to end, with Chavo hitting Rikishi with a camera for the finish, followed by a heat angle of Eddie laying out Edge in the build to their pay-per-view rematch on Sunday, seeing SmackDown entering the 6 million viewers range for the first time on the night in the next 15 minutes, with a back-and-forth Bischoff and Stephanie simulcast satellite interview hyping up the stipulations to the crossover Rosie and Jamal vs Palumbo and Gunn tag match at Unforgiven, seeing the second hour picking up strong to average over 6.1 million viewers on the back of the loaded final half hour, coming up to again open a huge viewership margin over Monday's Raw, with the gap in the second hours approaching nearly 2 million viewers, and with more talk in recent weeks of the top free agent names in the industry either debuting or returning to the company earlier than expected to give the product and in particular the Raw brand a star power boost in the fall TV season. Last night saw several of them making their wrestling return, with TNA in one of the biggest shows for the company to date relaunching the product after a month off to bring back its weekly pay-per-view format, returning with an increased budget to feature Scott Hall, Sean Waltman, Buff Bagwell and Road Dogg all making their return on the same night, looking to kick off a new era for the company with boosted buzz and increased pay-per-view numbers in hopes of getting a weekly TV show that will air in most markets in the country to promote it in the near future. After the strong SummerSlam number and conflicting signals of interest for the product in the follow-up of the event with Raw and SmackDown viewership going in opposite directions in recent weeks, expectations for the Unforgiven pay-per-view buys on Sunday were unclear, with the company's hopes that the attraction of the first major event with 2 world title matches on the same card in almost a year would translate to a potential boost in buys, along with the heated build-up for the Lesnar vs. Taker feud with Brock's first pay-per-view title defense and perhaps converted casual viewers tuning back into the product on the back of the hype for the big SmackDown from last Thursday, with Gunn and Palumbo after driving the massive viewership spike for the highest profile segment of their run being placed again in the main event spot to potentially capitalize on another week of interest for the follow-up, teaming up against Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit in the main event match of the night, crossing over 2 quarters in the final 30 minutes, going 7 minutes in total to bump SmackDown's final half hour to 6.4 million viewers, seeing the Billy and Chuck push with the idea of them being elevated in the past 2 weeks of media exposure continuing, with them getting a major win over Angle and Benoit, with both trading shots throughout in the build to their first singles match in over a year on Sunday. After almost 2 hours of advertising for his arrival to the World Arena, Undertaker finally showed up for the final segment of the night at 9:51 p.m. in an unusual formatting before the final commercial break, setting up the go-home angle heading into Unforgiven with 5 minutes left in the broadcast to see Undertaker calling out Brock to the ring, setting up a preview for the main event on Sunday with a Taker-Lesnar brawl followed by Lesnar bailing out to the security team at the back, closing the show with a peak of over 6.6 million viewers for the second half of Angle and Benoit vs. Billy and Chuck, along with the Taker-Lesnar segment in the final quarter, with SmackDown overall, while dropping from the 5-month high of last Thursday, still holding up strong with one of the biggest audiences in months, drawing over 5.8 million viewers heading into Unforgiven.